Welcome to today's Explainer. We've got an absolutely incredible journey to unpack today. We're talking going from absolute zero to total financial independence. We're going to dive deep into the core concepts from Grant Sabatier's inspiring turnaround story, which he laid out in his book, Financial Freedom, A Proven Path to All the Money You Will Ever Need. So if you've ever felt, kind of stuck or maybe overwhelmed by your finances or honestly just unsure of how to actually build real wealth, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the exact step-by-step roadmap he used to completely transform his life. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to imagine opening up your banking app right now and seeing a balance of just 158 rupees. That's what, roughly $2.26? Yeah, that was Grant's actual reality at age 24. He had just been fired, he was out of options, and he had to make that dreaded, deeply uncomfortable move back into his parents' house. He applied to over 200 companies in 2 months and literally didn't get a single call back. He felt like a total failure, right? Just having to answer his parents' daily, "Did you find a job yet?" with a defeated no. The contrast here is just staggering. One day, he's lying in an empty field, just incredibly frustrated. He felt like he had done everything right. He got the good grades, he took the high-paying job his dad recommended, even though he absolutely hated it, and he just snapped. He hit his breaking point. Right there in that field, he decided he was going to achieve total financial independence. And he didn't just set a small goal, he set an outrageously audacious one. He wanted 7.5 crore in his bank account. That spark of commitment pushed him to devour every personal finance book he could get his hands on and launch multiple side hustles. And spoiler alert, in just 5 years, he actually hit that massive goal. So how did he pull it off? Here is the exact roadmap we'll be exploring. Number 1, the wake-up call. Number 2, the 7 stages of freedom. Number 3, time over money. Number 4, the 25x retirement rule. And finally, number 5, accelerating your wealth. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, the 7 stages of freedom. We're looking at moving from basic survival to getting some actual breathing room. And remember, these are highly actionable, step-by-step phases, not just nice theories. So, step 1 is clarity. You absolutely have to find your exact number. Financial freedom isn't some vague, fluffy idea, it's a very precise target. The big takeaway here is to calculate exactly how much money it'll take to fund your life over the coming decades. Because without that number, you're literally just shooting in the dark. Next up is step 2, self-sufficiency. This just means earning enough to cover your own bills without relying on anyone else. A super practical tip here, track every single rupee you spend for 30 days. You need to know exactly what your baseline survival costs are. Then we hit step 3, breathing room. This is where you've managed to stash away 1 to 2 months of living expenses. Imagine if you lost your job tomorrow. Having that little buffer, it gives you your very first real taste of financial peace. You can finally take a breath while you plan your next move. Moving right along to section 2 of the 7 stages, making the shift from stability all the way up to abundance. This is the wealth-building half of the roadmap, where the real magic happens. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the leverage shifts in your favor. Step 4 is stability. No bad debt, meaning no credit card balances, no crushing high-interest loans, plus a solid 6-month emergency fund. The trick is to mercilessly attack that high-interest debt first, way before you start worrying about fancy investments. Then, step 5 is flexibility. This is huge. You have a 2-year fund saved up. With 2 whole years of expenses in the bank, you can finally start living life on your own terms. You can negotiate a better salary without fear, or even switch to a career you actually like. And that leads right into step 6, financial independence. This is the stage Grant hit in just 5 years. Your investments are generating enough return to cover all your daily living expenses. You're no longer working for money, you work purely for passion. Pro tip, automate your investment withdrawals so you don't accidentally overspend and kill your golden goose. And finally, we arrive at the ultimate destination. Stage 7 is abundance. This is where your wealth has completely snowballed. You literally have more money than you could ever spend. At this point, your money is doing all the heavy lifting and you just get to enjoy the ride. You're spending time with loved ones, traveling, indulging in your hobbies, and doing it all without a single drop of financial anxiety. The ultimate tip to remember here is to avoid lifestyle creep. Instead, focus on legacy or charitable giving. Make sure your wealth is creating true meaning for the world, not just a bunch of luxury for yourself. Okay, on to section 3, time over money. This is the very first major mental shift you absolutely have to make if you want to progress rapidly through those 7 stages. Think about it this way. Money can always be earned back, right? But time is completely irreplaceable. The source text shares this brilliant example from Kunal Shah, the founder of Cred. Let's say you figure out that 1 hour of your time is worth 1,000 rupees. Would you really waste 30 minutes of your day arguing with customer service or driving across town just to chase down a 500 rupee discount? Mathematically and logically, no way. It doesn't make sense. Yet so many people have no idea what the hourly value of their time is, so they constantly waste it on trivial stuff. But when you truly start to value your time, suddenly every single financial decision becomes incredibly clear. If you're a busy professional, outsourcing low-value tasks, like, say, hiring help for household chores, that is not a waste of money. It's actually a highly strategic purchase of your own time. It buys you the freedom to focus laser-like on your high-value financial goals. And honestly, as a bonus, it creates jobs for others. Valuing your time is what keeps you entirely focused on your main objectives. Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 4, the 25x retirement rule. This is the mathematical engine of this whole explainer. So I want to challenge you directly right now. Have you ever actually thought about this? What is the precise financial corpus you need to never, ever have to work again? Remember stage 1, clarity? You simply cannot hit a target you haven't defined. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how to figure that out. It's called the 25 by retirement rule. And the math is super straightforward. You take your desired monthly expense, let's just say it's 1 lakh for easy math. That makes your yearly expense 12 lakh. Now, to find your ultimate financial freedom number, you just multiply that yearly expense by 25. So 12 lakh times 25 gives you a target corpus of 3 crore. Boom, there's your number. So what happens once you actually hit that 3 crore? Well, here's how the long-term cycle works to sustain you indefinitely. You take that 3 crore and split it right down the middle. You part 1.5 crore into a fixed, super safe instrument like an FD. That is going to comfortably cover all your living expenses for the next 12 years. The other 1.5 crore, you throw that into an index fund. Now, over those 12 years, while you're chilling and living off the FD, that index fund is quietly compounding in the background. If it gets a 15% return, that 1.5 crore could grow to around 8 crore. Honestly, it sounds like absolute magic, but it's literally just the raw, surprising power of compound interest doing the heavy lifting while you sleep. By year 13, you just repeat the cycle, but now you have a much larger pool of money to play with. And sure, short-term market dips will happen, but remember, the long-term trend of the market is always upward. All right, rounding the corner into our final section, Section 5, accelerating your wealth. How do we speed up this journey to stage 7? Listen, saving big in your major expense areas is what truly fuels that compounding magic we just talked about. Every 1,000 rupees you save and invest today could literally buy your freedom a decade from now. Grant points out 3 massive money traps you've got to avoid. First up, houses. Seriously consider renting, or maybe living just a bit further from the city's center to slash those housing costs. Second, cars. Buy a car for its utility, don't take on terrible debt just to show off to people you don't even like. And third, food and cultural expenses, especially weddings. Eating at home saves a ton over time, and particularly in places like India, avoiding those crippling EMI loans just to throw a lavish, over-the-top wedding is probably one of the smartest financial moves you could ever make. Now, cutting expenses is great because it frees up capital to invest, but to really put the pedal to the metal, you need to increase your active income. Grant highly recommends a few super practical avenues for this. Step 1 is real estate, whether you're flipping properties or building up a portfolio of rentals. Step 2 is to master the art of selling. He literally calls selling the ultimate business skill, one that serves you no matter what career you're in. Definitely check out books by Dan Kennedy or Robert Cialdini for that. And step 3 is monetizing a specific skill through freelancing or content creation. Learning how to make animated videos or producing educational content, these skills are in absolutely massive demand right now. Looking back at Grant's journey, from a bank balance of $2 to over $1 million, it just goes to show us that no matter how completely dire your current situation might feel, if your intentions are strong and your direction is right, absolutely anything is possible. But, it requires making that leap from just learning about it to actually doing it. Today is the day to take action. Small steps today really do bring massive changes tomorrow. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question. Take a hard look at those 7 stages we covered. Take a look at your own expenses. What is your very first step going to be today? Are you going to sit down and calculate your 25x number? Will you start tracking every rupee of your expenses for the next 30 days? The path to complete financial abundance is literally laid out right in front of you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, start taking those steps towards your own financial freedom. Catch you next time.